Welcome to Local Leverage, your competitive edge in business. As always, today's show is brought to you by PropertyRadar, the hyper-local lead generation platform for small local businesses. Today, we're sitting down with Michael Iuculano, also known as Hard Money Mike, the no excuses lender, and he's the dominant force in the world of alternative and hard money lending. In this episode, we're going to unpack how he funds deals in days, not weeks, how to build a scalable model around non-traditional borrowers, and the critical importance of marketing to drive sustainable business growth. Let's get into it. Michael, welcome to Local Leverage. It's a pleasure to have you.
And you as well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, man, I guess I want to set the stage on this. I mean, obviously you're in hard money lending, and I think our audience is really familiar with hard money, as it's often the vehicle for real estate investors. But maybe what's not as common, at least it's common to me, is leveraging hard money within the independent mortgage community. And so I'm curious, tell me more about how that fits into the independent space.
Well, I mean, with banks tightening over the years, and speed and all these different factors, financing isn't a one size fits all. I mean, even hard money isn't a one size fits all. Borrowers need options depending on certain situations and certain profiles. And hard money is one of those options. And I got news for you. It's here to stay. It's definitely become more prominent in, I would say, the past 10, 12 years, possibly even longer since, the debacle of 2008. So it's the real deal. It's the real deal.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I see it day in and day out. And I mean, you've built this model that's really prioritizing kind of speed and flexibility and so forth, rather than kind of the conventional rules. For mortgage brokers that are listening into this episode, what's the biggest mindset shift that's required for them to step into this model?
That's a great question because I have a couple of guys that have been on my team that came from traditional lending. And, I used to think, oh, hard money, it'd be easier to train for hard money or easier to do hard money. And it's not, because, at least with traditional lending, for the most part, it's a very structured sort of box, right? And you
Right.
either fit in it or you don't. Whereas hard money is the box. There's not really a box. It's kind of like, does it make sense? There's some institutional private money, institutional type funding that is a box based. But, if you really want to be successful in this industry, you need to have the box and you need to have the expanded box, because there are a lot of deals that have really good compensating factors, which is really by definition what hard money is based on, right? Somebody's weak over here, but they're really strong over here. So can we look at the overall risk and not just this risk in this, bank box? And that's what makes it possible.
Yeah, that's got to be tough for somebody who's a traditional loan officer. It's like you're not supposed to get creative, right? And so you're asking them
Well,
here to get
you
creative.
get this deal and you're like, okay, I think this makes sense, but maybe this one doesn't. It's like, do I put time into this? Do I put time into, like, how do you know what to put time into?
Absolutely, yeah. So from your experience, what's like a key differentiator in how you view maybe a real estate investor borrower from traditional lenders that somebody maybe a traditional lender would overlook?
I mean, more of your traditional lenders are, did I go off mute? Can you still
Nope,
hear
you're
me?
fine. Yep, you're
Okay.
fine.
More of your traditional lenders, by definition, are more wanting to do primary residences. There are definitely banks that still do DSCR loans and other types of loans, but for the most part, most of your banks are more favoring and more interested in primary residence loans. Not to say they can't do or don't do or won't do uh, non-owner occupied types of loans, but banks don't want flip loans, right? They don't. I mean, they want people that are going to hold the loans, right? They don't. They don't want to be in and out. Again, there's some alternate type lenders and stuff that do bridge and stuff like that, but look, hard money has its spot in the marketplace, and bridge and flip and construction and those types of things are for hard money. I mean, look, there's banks that will do like spec builds, but it's funny, like, because I have a lot of friends that send me deals in business that they can't do. They work for for banks. And here in Arizona, there's a bank that will do up to 80% financing on a primary residence that you're building for yourself.
Okay.
And a lot of them will only go like 50, 55, maybe 60% of cost on a spec build, which is really funny because on a like a non-owner, one you're going to buy
Right.
to flip or rent. Whereas like hard money will go up to 80, 85 on a non-owner. Like it's like you, it, I mean, most people on the non-owner, the investment side, 99 times out of 100 want to put the least amount down, So
Right.
clearly the bank is not really wanting to do those loans. I can't imagine they're doing very many, spec builds at 50 to 60% of cost when
No.
other options exist.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It makes it really difficult. Did you start in hard money, or did you come from the traditional side and go through the same kind of arc that many of these folks are doing?
I started in traditional lending in 2002. So March of 2002. So I'm coming up on almost 24 years.
All
I
right.
did that for about 7 years till about '09. And then by literal fluke, ended up in hard money because I remembered very clearly I got a call while in traditional lending for a deal that to me made absolute sense from a risk profile. And my broker at the time, who is still a very good friend of mine, said, "Oh yeah, that's called hard money." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, what's that?" And then it's so the journey started.
How did that reshape your outlook? And I mean, is all of a sudden, I assume once you became more fluent and aware of this, like that just opened up a whole new world of opportunity for you.
It did because there's there's pros and cons to hard money, right? I mean, we get a lot of. I'll tell you, nearly every deal I do has some sort of urgency. Like every deal that I do has to close tomorrow, and so that puts a lot of pressure, which I don't mind. I like the pressure. I like knowing somebody has a reason and they're not dilly-dallying. Hard money is not one of these things that somebody's going to do for fun. They're doing it because it solves a problem and it provides a bigger benefit than the cost, right? So if that, I look to see what the situation is. If the situation doesn't have that, I sometimes question why they're doing hard money, because there are people that will call us not knowing, and they'll look for hard money, thinking they can get bank pricing with hard money speed and process.
Right.
And
Can't have it
unfortunately,
all.
it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, there's a spot for it. So,
Right.
I mean, I'm curious, like, as you're building guys up, or gals up to be brokers in hard money, and they're wanting to build their own pipeline of investors or self-employed businesses, how do you go about helping them to define their ideal client profile and how to source those borrowers?
Well, uh, you know, I think hard money in and of itself is its own client profile
Yep.
enough, right? I mean, it's already a niche. And so I don't know how much more niche, like, I guess you could say, hey, someone does, hey, I really focus on ground up or I really focus on fix and flip or bridge or whatever it is. Um, I don't necessarily encourage my guys to get that granular
Okay.
because we're already kind of in a niche space. As far as how do I get those deals? I mean, I've done this 24 years. I think we're coming up on 3,200 transactions,
Nice.
well over 2.1 billion. So we have a really big presence online, but it's interesting because most of the calls that come in go to my guys. Most of the deals I do are referrals at this point. We're
Right.
past clients.
Right. And so for these folks, I mean, aside from the leads that you're able to funnel to them, how are they going about identifying these investors and connecting with these prospective investor borrowers?
I mean, they're putting themselves out there, right? I mean, networking events, past clients, making themselves known, waving to them or identifying themselves, raising their hand and saying, "Hi, here's what I do. Here's I can help you." I'm a big marketer. We have a really big social presence. I'm a psychopath when it comes to marketing. I believe it's the best marketer that wins, not the best, not necessarily the best salesperson.
I agree in many cases. I mean, so to that end, like, how are you positioning yourself within the market so that you are differentiated and that people are thinking about you when it comes to kind of speed and alternatives?
Sure. I mean, so from a literal reply, we're on billboards, we're in magazines, we're all over social, we're all over Google. I deal a lot with a lot of other co-brokers. Um, I think there are definitely some people out there that are their business, their niche, their name is in the traditional space. And, the hard money over the past couple of years has become very cool. Like people want to be in hard money. Personally, I think there's some people that shouldn't be in hard money. They should stick to what they're good at. And I have developed a lot of relationships with high producing high quality brokers that know that, and they'll stick to their space. And if they get a hard money deal, they'll actually send me the deal. We'll work it. They'll get paid, and they stick to what they're good at. Unfortunately, there's some brokers who are trying to be everything to everyone, and it becomes difficult to work with either those brokers from the consumer or even from my perspective in working with them as a co-broker. Um, you know what I'm saying? So
Oh yeah, no, that to me is like truth in most business, right? I mean, if you try to be everything to everyone, you're probably nothing to anyway, right? So yeah,
you see what
totally
I'm
agree.
saying. Instead of being something to everyone, be everything to someone. And I took
Yeah,
that quite literally in the way that I built my business. It's the same for me. I don't do a lot of traditional lending. I can do it. We do it. It's just, it's not my focal point. And I'll tell people that I want to be, you know, the king of what I do, not the
yeah,
king of everything.
absolutely. Yeah, no, there's plenty plenty in that one space. So you mentioned these traditional guys that have a maybe the difficulty, it could be a mindset or whatever, but that doesn't allow them to make this transition. Are there certain indicators where that you can look at a given loan officer and say, you know what, you definitely should stay in that lane. You should stay on the traditional side, whereas somebody else might have attributes that are like, man, this would be hard money is a great avenue for you.
I think somebody from the people that I've worked with, both that work with me, that are in my brokerage and outside, the skill set and the traits that seem to do very well. I'll just say it. Someone who's got balls. I mean, our industry, our money's expensive in comparison to regular lending, and they need to convey to those borrowers like that because. Again, if somebody's calling for hard money just to try to get a bank pricing with hard money speed and process, that's not your borrower. So
Right.
unfortunately, we do have a lot of people calling that really aren't a good candidate, or they think they are, or think it might be an option. So our guys need to be able to kind of crack the whip because
Yeah.
a lot of our business, as I mentioned, is very, very urgent. It's impending. There's a problem, there's a need, there's a benefit. Somebody who's buying a house and they're getting a great deal isn't gonna seller's not gonna say, cool, I'll sell you, I'm in a shitty spot. My house is worth 500 grand. I'll sell it to you for 350, but go ahead and take your time, right? It's cool. I'll sell it to you for 350, but you need to
Yeah.
close, now, right?
Right.
Or 3 days from now. So
Exactly.
they got to be able to ask the right questions to understand what the needs and motivators are of that borrower.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, it's got its place to your point, and I think being upfront with the prospective borrower right away, like, hey, this is what it's for, and here's where we play. It might not be for everybody. Yeah,
Yeah. And I teach it's funny because people are kind of astonished by this, but I teach my guys that when a call comes in, I want you to look for a reason to kill the deal.
Hmm.
Because if you look for a reason to kill the deal, you're going to ask way more and way better questions. If it goes through that filter, then you have a qualified deal either from a qualified deal and or qualifying interest, qualified borrower,
Yeah.
because a lot of people will look at a lot of LOs will look at deals and look for ways to qualify it where they're forcing it, and the rest of the stuff they overlooked will pop up later and they end up wasting their time.
Love that. Let's dig into that just a little bit more. I mean, what are some of the types of questions or criteria that you would key in on as a mechanism to try to disqualify?
I mean, I would ask about the scenario. Unfortunately, a lot of people call us are either over leveraged and or undercapitalized. And I tell people very, very much upfront, we are a lender. We are not a partner. This is a contact sport. It requires funding. Uh, the people that are out there talking about, no money, no credit, sure, that's possible, right? But if you've got the guy down the street who's willing to lend you the money for 100% financing, awesome. But
Right.
that's not what we are. We are a lender. I want to know that somebody's got skin in the game. I want to know that they've got something to lose. And then people will continue to say, well, yeah, but I'm buying the 500K house for 350. Great.
Good for
But if
you.
it was about finding a great deal, why wouldn't I use all my own money and go find the great deal and keep all the profit? What do I need you for? If I'm a lender, I'm going to take a risk like a lender if I'm going to get paid like a lender.
Yeah,
It's just risk reward and math.
totally fair. Yeah, that's great. Hey, I want to just kind of go back to some of the methods that you're using to kind of get your name and brand out there. And I guess as I was listening to some of the things you're utilizing, whether it be billboards and so forth, um, these to me kind of fall into that category of kind of brand building. I mean, these are like making sure that your brand is prominent and recognizable. And there's definitely a trust building component in brand marketing. I'm curious if that is your sole motion, or if you also do kind of more targeted marketing to outreach to the, investors directly. Or I'm just trying to get a sense for your whole marketing mix.
I would say all of the above. I've been marketing heavily and just kind of like a little more and more and more every year since about 2000, probably 12. Really, really turned on the burners come about 2017, 18. All of the above, right? Obviously, we want to showcase what we do. We want to do a lot of deals, help a lot of people. Like I said, we have a really big Google presence
Yep.
in on Google. In Arizona, my local market, we're actually the highest ranked hard money lender in the entire state on Google. Um, I attend a lot of events. We're starting to host a lot of our own events as well here locally.
Yeah. So
Um, we have a lot of deals that we've done, and we've been in the trenches with the clients over nearly 2.5 decades.
yeah. Well, and I mean, that's a great position to be, because now you're actively out there in these events and so forth, and you're actively hunting, and you're also farming, right? By all of this brand building. So
And
that
we had
a lot of trust there.
a funny story. So, and this happens all the time, but yesterday I was at the gym, and I was on the treadmill doing my warm up, and all of a sudden the guy comes over to me. He goes, "Hey, so on your hard money, da 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 da," and I'm like, "Okay, cool, like whatever." Obviously knows who I am, whatever. And we start talking, and he's like, "Oh, okay, cool. Can I get your number?" And I give him my number. He puts my number in his phone, and my name was already saved in his phone. So we had already spoke about a deal, but I don't think he had knew
Right.
like visually what I looked like, but he knew what I looked like because he must have been seeing me on a billboard or something. So he approached me and started talking about hard money. But by the time he put my phone number in his phone, it was already saved in his phone as a context for hard
Isn't that
money.
isn't
Yeah.
that funny? I mean, that's such a great way to show the power of that. Like, I mean, all of that brand building and all of that awareness, whether people are aware of it or not, it does build trust and it builds confidence. And so, yeah, that's really cool. That's a great story.
Yeah.
So
So
I mean, let me go a little further on that. I mean, as you're helping folks that are coming into the space, maybe you have a new broker on your team as an example. What's your 90-day plan for them? Obviously, they're not going to go out and be doing billboards and kind of brand stuff. They need to go and create relationships. Like, what is that? What would that 90-day plan be for them?
so I have a theory. If it's someone new, it's 90 days to 80%. And what I mean by that is that it's going to take 90 days of, I mean, I want guys who are career driven. I don't want job guys. I want career guys, right? So 90 days to 80%, 90 days of absolute calling, commitment, just borderline obsession. I mean, if you want it, be obsessed. Like I'm not into this work-life balance thing, right? Like
Yeah,
90 days to 80%, 90 days to 80%, meaning that you should know 80% of what you need to know to be largely functional and profitable in 90 days. If you're, working, taking the calls, you're making mistakes, which is inevitable, but you're learning. You're not making the same mistake twice. You're doing tons of calls because the more calls we do, the more we're learning. The faster we're learning by doing more calls, the faster we're getting to that 80%. So it's no secret. It's relentless effort. And that can be accomplished in 90 days. They're submitting scenarios, they're learning about scenarios. Oh man, I thought this was going to work. They're kind of like initially ignorance on fire, right? Which is
right.
like amazing to watch it in action. Um, so yeah, that's really my model.
That's cool. Do you provide them with some sort of a framework and say like, here are the competencies and experiences that you need to gain to get to that 80%?
I don't have like benchmarks or anything. I'm more focused on the growth of their ability to filter leads, calls, and see the opportunities that are available to them, either in or outbound. So I'm not like, oh, okay, there's not like a checklist. For me, it's really about the interactions with the clients because that's what matters, right? That's where
Yeah.
you learn, that's where you grow, that's where you make money, that's where you establish a client base, trust, so on and so forth. I think of things in terms of like, okay, if we can close a loan and make that person a raving fan, we're creating little walking billboards,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's how I look at it right now that I've done almost 3,200 loans. I have 3,200 billboards
Absolutely.
constantly, not including, maybe there was a deal that didn't go through, or maybe there was a referral that referred me, but those are little walking billboards.
Yep. Yep. That makes total sense to me. So, you mentioned, the career guy looking for the career person. Um, I mean, I tend to see a lot of, and again, this is independent brokers, traditional that treat kind of hard money as like a side hustle, and that's not the person you're looking for. But why do you think that that matters so much? What's the risk of treating it like a backup plan?
I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, right? You get what you put in. You know, I think some guys are just need deals. I want my guys to want deals. It's just a different mentality. It's mindset, it's wording, it's self-talk, right? Like I am not a salesperson. I'm a consultant, right? Um, I'm looking for long term. And if we operate that way, that we're a consultant, hey, maybe we could have pushed this guy into a deal. Sure, maybe. But what if you did the right thing? How much more will that impact you over 24 years, let's say? Um, I'm at a point right now where if I turned off all my marketing, I'd still have probably 100, 120 million a year in volume just personally because of that.
Yeah,
So again, I focused on long term and I want the same for my guys. That's the model I want. My reputation is very important to me.
love it, love it. Makes total sense to me. Um, I think we really briefly covered this at the top of the conversation, but I mean, I know you're bullish on the path forward for hard money. I mean, there's looming regulatory changes and AI disruption. There's all these things going on in the market. It's constantly shifting, especially these days. Um, why do you believe that hard money and alternative lending is poised for growth rather than shrinking?
I mean, we're in some level like the world is kind of like smartened up. And if you really think about hard money, it's kind of like peer-to-peer lending, right? Because, a lot of times if you give your money to the bank is basically just getting 10-1 from the Fed and they're lending it out. It's kind of peer-to-peer, but you added the bank in between. So the
Okay.
person who lost was the person who put the money in the bank. Okay. So why do I think it's going to grow? Is because people are starting to smarten up. They're looking for other ways to make money. They have to make money to survive. This is no longer a save your way to retirement word. And I think more and more people are starting to understand that. So hard money being one of the options for people to invest in, but also a lot of people are sick of the banks. I mean, yeah, again, I told you I do some regular loans. I also do a lot of bank statement loans and non-QM loans.
Okay.
The stuff they ask for it's enough to make you pull your hair out. And hard money, I mean, we still protect ourselves, but it's not like we're not looking at
Yeah.
people's backgrounds and histories to make sure that, it's not just return on investment, it's also return of investment. But some of the things they're doing are just insane. And yet at the same time, there are people that their time is better served uh, putting into their business or other things, to the point that some people get anxiety, including myself, over going through bank loans. And
Sure.
I do, like, I have investment properties. I just literally just closed one 2 days ago on the easiest deal at a super clean bar. It took 38 days to close. Now I did it because the rate was super cheap. So that's kind of how it goes. Like, if you want the pricing, you got to go through the process. So, but
Yeah.
everybody has their value. And the funny thing is, hard money, if you looked at, like, in Arizona in 2009, what the kind of common street rate was almost 18% to the street. Now, because there's a lot of money in the market, you could almost say the standard street rate is like 11,
Wow.
maybe 12. So it's compressed. And the funny
Yeah.
thing is, the gap between what the bank rates are and hard money is
Yeah.
closing. So
It's
it's
not a huge
not,
spread.
yeah, it's not like as painful anymore uh in comparison. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's part of the reason why I feel that it will grow. And it has.
Yeah. Great. Well articulated. I appreciate that, your feedback on that. Um, so looking forward, I mean, thinking maybe 3 to 5 years out, how do you see the space evolving, and how should brokers prepare to harness that and prepare for that evolution?
I mean, first you got to decide that you want to do it, right? I mean, you can't be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You have to commit.
Yep.
Um, I mean, I would say that's number one. You're gonna have your good days, your bad days, your good years, your bad years. But if you're building a book, and if you're building a book, it takes time. So that's the first thing. How should they prepare? Um, Look, it's a business. You don't have to, but you should have some sort of marketing budget, some sort of system, some sort of CRM. If you want to get paid like a business, you need to run it like a business. That's any business. So that's kind of common sense. And then build relationships, network. I'm a huge networker. I'm in groups, like not even just general networking. I'm in, groups that cost money, like a fair amount of money to be in per year, because I want those relationships. I've gotten to a point where I don't actually even need to market because of the relationships that I have and the networks. So run it like a business if you want to get paid like a business. If you want to dip your toe in, get paid equivalently.
Yeah, I wanna hover there a moment, because I think you just said something really important. It's like you're in this spot because you've put in the work, you've done the reps, you've made the sacrifices and paid to be part of these groups, and so getting to where Michael isn't something you're going to do in 60, 90 days. You got to build to that, and you got to put in the commitment and put in the effort to get to that. Yeah, this critical pieces want to make sure that we teased out for the audience. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, that makes total sense to me. I'm just maybe a little bit curious about.
and
Oh, go ahead.
enjoy it. Like, I'll tell you another thing. Like, it's learn about new products, learn about new programs, like understand why this deal's good and this one isn't, and enjoy it. Like I particularly enjoy it because regardless of the effort, regardless of the money, uh, when I really started enjoying the business and getting good is when I wasn't focusing on the money. I was actually focused on like, hey, let me meet that guy. He's doing deals. Let me figure out how I can make something better for him. Let me understand something a little bit more. Maybe I could do something different or better than the standard options available to this guy or this girl. And I love the creative part. I'm not a very creative guy, like in the regular world, but I'm very, very creative when it comes to putting deals together and knowing what I'm dealing with. How can I make something work that either couldn't work, or how can I make it more appealing to that client where it's worth it for them to actually move forward? And I do enjoy that part.
It's interesting. And that's kind of, again, one of those basic differences maybe between hard money and traditional, where like you're able to apply that creativity, you're able to be more of a problem solver in your day than if you're just kind of stuck within that box that you've described.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And it's fun because then you get to differentiate yourself, and hey, that's the best, right? I don't want to be in a world of, I call it sea of sameness. I don't want to be in the sea of sameness, right? So it's cool. And then you get to kind of be the hero and the go-to guy for certain things.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Let me pivot a little bit into just kind of little technical. I just want to understand, the differences here. Like, I'm curious about your kind of lead to application flow and how you take a borrower, from interested to qualified in your process, and maybe how that differs from operating within the box.
I mean, again, because I focus on quality over quantity, I probably don't put as much effort into every lead. Again, I think with the mindset of, let me find a reason to disqualify, because if I see a deal with those eyes, I'm going to ask all the questions to know, because I want to, I mean, it's my time. It's the borrower's time, right? I want to know what could kill my deal, because I don't make a dime and the borrower's not happy unless a deal goes through. So I look at a deal, I filter a deal with the eyes of, how can I kill this? Hey, how much can you put down? You're buying a 500K house. Well, we can put 30% down. All right. Can't kill it on that. That's pretty good. Hey, what does credit look like? It's a 780. All right. Can't kill it on that. Like, how do I kill it? And if I can't kill it, let's move forward, So if I do it that way, there will be a lot more deals that I won't have conversation 2 or conversation 3 on, but it's my way of knowing I'm working on a deal that is going to be worth mine and the borrower's time. And then as I do that, that's where the consultative approach comes, where the referrals come, where the billboards come, because now I'm not wasting their time where I gave them false hope, or, whatever comes of that, right? You said
Yeah.
you could do it. Well, no, I didn't. I didn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I grilled you on that call to make sure I know that I can do it.
It's funny to me because, I mean, so many, again, on the traditional side, covet every lead and they work those things to death. And you're working from a position of abundance and not from scarcity. And
Yep.
it's such a different mindset.
I mean, you got to earn it. You got to get there, right? We don't come into this business or come into our careers with, unless you're independently wealthy already. But, I want my guys to want the deal. I don't want them to need it. Right. So if we operate that way, we then are consultants. We're not salespeople. Again, career based.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Um,
look, it takes the right person to do that, right? You can't be like 3 months down on your mortgage and not knowing where you're going to pay your rent on or something. It takes a certain person.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. When you, I mean, you've had well, not the luxury, but you've had 25 years of repetition and experience in this. And I'm curious for folks in the hard money space or getting into the hard money space, What's one bottleneck in the operational process that tends to slow people down, and how did you overcome it and find success there?
Everything changed from me. I mean, I guess it didn't really change because always done it from the start. But I think marketing, that is my thing, my baby, it's not even secret sauce. Look, the more leads you get, the more deals you're going to do, the more deals that you didn't do, but maybe they'll call back, the more deals that they'll come back, the more deals that even though you didn't do a deal, they might refer you someone. I like to operate from the standpoint of, I think too many mortgage people, both hard money or traditional, they do addition. I want to do multiplication. So if I start this funnel at the top and I say, okay, um, I uh, I'm gonna market and I'm gonna talk to 5 people a day because I've got leads coming in. You know, 4 are not gonna work, but maybe one's gonna call you back, one's gonna refer their friend. And I start to do that over time as the funnel winds out. I mean, you could be a moron and still do well. If you're actually good or skilled or people like you could fly. But I think like I see so many people, they're like, I run a referral based business. Okay.
Yes.
So, like, you don't want to spend money, you're afraid to spend money, got it. But you do realize that you could have your referral business over here. You want to do more loans. Yeah, okay. So you're waiting for deals, right? Because you're only waiting for referrals. But if you actually pay and put some time and effort into marketing, you literally could not only get more deals, you'd have more people referring you. It's kind of like, it's kind of scarcity. I'm afraid to spend money. What if it doesn't work? Well, what if it does work, right? You're
Right.
in a high profit per sale business and mortgage. It's not like you're spending a ton of money to sell toothpaste to make $2 on a tube of toothpaste. I don't
Man,
get it. I
you
don't.
are
It's a business and they don't think like a business.
you are speaking my language here, man. Like, I totally agree. And the other thing that in that is, um, if you're solely based on referral, that just feels so passive to me. Like
Yeah.
you're not controlling your destiny. Go chase some stuff. Go target a niche. Go engage, like you're talking about, putting in the reps. Like that's how you manufacture success, not by hoping and praying.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, ultimately that's how I see it because we only have so much time on this earth. I want to do the most possible, especially in my working day. And I think some people confuse working with busy work or feeling busy. But at the end of the day, conversations with prospects and working on your business where it counts is what's actually going to get you paid.
Fantastic quote to end on. I love that. Michael, thank you so much. I mean, I think, went through a whole bunch of in the trenches and some great philosophy on how you view hard money lending and the space and the opportunity ahead. Um, Man, we could go on, but I think this is a great place for us to end this conversation. How can people follow and get in touch with you?
Yeah. So on Instagram, we're Hard Money Michael, and that's Michael. Please be careful of that. I've had a lot of people try to copy my accounts with different spellings, but it's HardMoneyMichael. The website's MJICapital.com. And the email is Michael, Michael, at MJICapital.com.
Michael, thanks so much. Appreciate
Absolutely.
all the value today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.